yes, hello my friends, and welcome back to yet another exciting episode of Ferretta Draws and Talks a Bunch, I guess. As usual, I have no idea what to talk about, but here we are anyway. I hope you're all doing well and staying healthy in this trying time. It's certainly been quite a year so far, but regardless of all of that going on in the world at the moment, I wanted to share with you the drawing of this particular piece that is currently happening on the screen, because this is the anniversary piece for the comic, and marks the turning of 200 years! 700!
No, just 7.
7 years of weekly comic pages. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Anyway, as usual, the effort I've put into this piece is disproportionately absurdly huge compared to anything else related to the comic, but hey, here we are, I guess. So yeah, 7 years. Time sure does fly. I really enjoy making these marking pieces. They serve as a great showpiece of my current level each year that I make them. So going back really shows off the growth nicely. At this stage, I'm practically a professional. Which brings us to other aspect of art stuff. Those who saw my previous video might be wondering how the whole quitting my job thing is going, and it's going great! Except it's been postponed for 6 months due to unforeseen circumstances, surprisingly not related to the current world crisis. But worry not, it's not cancelled, it's just on hold for a bit, and we'll still make it work by around October, I believe. Assuming I can get some damn things sorted. Anyway, this also does mean that commissions, Space Vixen, and all the other things that I was looking forward to digging into are slightly postponed as well. I will try to get a Space Vixen episode out this month regardless, just because it's been forever and I want to update people who are waiting for that. But yeah, so this piece, the one we're working on, if you weren't already aware, the canon lore for all the comics that involve these two characters is that they are actors playing in shows. So Tale of Tales and Space Vixen are both shows, and in between that they are married and living in a nice house outside of Neo, wherever the fuck this is. So this is their anniversary time, in which Fen cooks some delicious something for her girl, and they have a lovely date night on their balcony overlooking the city. And because I'm a lazy twat, I ended up making the city in 3D instead of fully drawing it out like I started to. I decided it was just more work than it was worth, and I don't have infinite time, so now here we are. Still, 3D and 2D can blend quite nicely together, if done right. In this case, it's not, but it can. In fact, did you know that the background work for the entirety of Chapter 6 of Tale of Tales so far has been entirely done in 3D? Some of them have been quite noticeable, but I'm getting better at it, and most of it blends pretty seamlessly. The power of technology. Choking on myself. The power of technology, right? What a marvel. So currently, I've been kind of pouring my heart into this piece, and it's, I got the background sorted, and by the time I did that, I sat back and I looked at it and I went, wow, I'm actually pretty good at this. So I decided that instead of doing the usual line stuff and things that I would normally do, I wanted to do this whole piece as a lineless piece, because I hate myself, I guess. And the process of doing lineless is not something I'm really used to yet, but, it turned out pretty reasonable. I mean, the piece itself turned out really, really nice. But the actual process itself was relatively painless, all things considered. The whole piece in its entirety took about 9 hours and 22 minutes, or to be more exact, 9 hours, 21 minutes, and 53 seconds, I think, according to the time that I have been recording this whole thing. It was done over the course of 4 days, I think, something like that. And since I had, time off of work, I figured, fuck it, I might as well put a load of time into this and do my best. See what we can come to from this. So here you see me working on the shading, and I had to actually stop for a moment and figure out what are the actual shapes of Vix's face in this case. The whole process of shading this is done with a multitude of different multiply layers. So you have one multiply layer that is purple, which is what we're currently erasing to make the yellow thing. And then we have one layer that is set to brown, or a reddish brown. And the two of them combined turn into the mix of yellow and blue that we have here. I'm really not happy with these hands, but, I get around to fixing them. Just don't worry about it. So yeah, the process... Also, my hands, for reference. The process involves erasing out... essentially, I fill in the entire layer with the color that I'm using for a shadow, and then I clip that to the layer that is the colors, and then I carve away all the parts where light is going to hit. So essentially, I carve away the reddish-brown layer for blue light, and I carve away the purple layer for yellow light. And the effects are, well, certainly serviceable. It's one of those methods that I've been working on for quite a while now, and it's finally starting to become a little more functional, I suppose. It's starting to work out more and more as I go. Yeah, I don't really have much else to talk about, so I'm just shooting the breeze here. I was very happy with this back, because it turned out really nice. And yeah, it's a very, very sexy back. It's a powerful back for sure. So from there, confidence kicks in, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this. And I just plow through the rest of it fairly easily, really. The face is actually surprisingly easygoing with how they turned out. I expected them to take a lot longer than they did. They didn't, so it turned out nice. And we have a little bit of combination of fixing various things, various parts that need to be melded together. A little bit of fur texturing with the little flicks of stuff that I put on top of everything before I do the overlay, which the overlay is how I light things up more. So you have the shadows, which you carve away the light for, and then you have the highlights, which I put in as overlay layers, and that's how you get the sudden brightness of everything. I wasn't 100% happy with how they were looking as I went, but I got back to fixing that. Unusual things about this piece is that, it's actually got more shading layers than normal. I suppose it's not really that unusual. It's simply an effect of not having lines to work with, because normally when you do lines and colors and shading, the lines serve as your separation, your darkest darks. In this case, I didn't have that, so I had to kind of add an extra layer of it. But yeah, overall, I would say I am very satisfied with how this piece turned out. It has some minor problems, certainly, but, you know, it's quite nice. It's sexy, it's fun, it's cute. The one thing I don't find myself entirely happy with is how much Vix kind of blends into the background, but it's mostly fixed by the little light that I added behind her head after the fact. You can see that a little more once you look into the actual piece. Here's some details of this, and yeah, that's about it. So yes, I don't really have much else, nor do I have much more time, so stay healthy, thank you for watching, and good night.